Alright, detectives, can you figure out what kind of people we are going to read about next? These photographs are your primary sources. Study them for clues and evidence about the bold women in Black history that we're going to read about today. What do you think they did to change the world?
Hi there. Welcome back. I'm Mr. Dan. This is Walter. And we are about to take a look at two incredible, bold women in Black history who contributed a lot to space travel. First, we're going to have a look at a very famous mathematician named Katherine Johnson. Katherine Johnson was a NASA mathematician. Judging by the way she took to math, you would think it was her first language. As a child, she counted everything. She skipped 7 grades. Wow. And graduated ahead of her older siblings. As a young woman, she became a math teacher. But her mentor at the University of West Virginia encouraged her to pursue a career as a research mathematician. She must have been pretty amazing at math, don't you think? In 1953, Katherine got her chance. NASA's Langley Research Center in Hampton, Virginia, had recently opened a lab that hired African American mathematicians. In a time before there were digital calculators, cell phones, or computer machines, the women and men who performed computations were called computers. Whoa! So, before computers were machines, people had to do all that hard work. That's amazing. Katherine's first assignment was to the Flight Research Division. The United States was in the middle of the space race, a period of time in the 1950s and 60s when America and Russia were competing for technological advancement in spaceflight. The top goal? To get a man on the moon. Katherine was one of the people who helped make it happen. Her job was to calculate the flight path for the first mission in space. Imagine, the Earth is rotating, the moon is revolving, and a rocket has to follow a very specific trajectory in order to reach its moving target. Sounds complicated. Like, really, really complicated. Even when mechanical computers were introduced, Katherine was still crucial. She continued computing at NASA until her retirement in 1986, and her work influenced every major space program up to that point. During the Friendship 7 mission in 1962, John Glenn, the first American to orbit the Earth, refused to launch without verification that Katherine herself had double-checked the math. In 2015, President Barack Obama awarded Katherine the Presidential Medal of Freedom, America's highest civilian honor. Wow. She deserved it for sure. Just think, without Katherine Johnson's contributions to math and science, we might not have made it to outer space. We might not have orbited the planet Earth. We might not have landed on the moon. It's amazing to think how big an impact some people have made who you don't even hear about very often.
Next, let's take a look at one of the astronauts that mathematicians like Katherine Johnson sent into space.
Dr. Mae Jemison. Dr. Mae Jemison was born in 1956, and she's still alive today. She is an engineer, physician, and astronaut. As a child, Mae loved to read, especially books about science and astronomy. By the time she was in kindergarten, she knew she wanted to become a scientist. This, however, did not keep her from her other passions. Mae also wanted to be a dancer, and throughout her youth, she studied every type of dance. In college in the 1970s, Mae double majored in chemical engineering and African American studies. When she learned about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., she saw his work as a call to action to help people. So, after graduating, she decided to become a doctor. Being a doctor is a great way to help people, isn't it? She joined the Peace Corps in 1983 and traveled to West Africa on a 2-year program to provide medical assistance to those in need. Wow. So even before she became an astronaut, she was already a hero. Super cool. After returning, she saw major changes taking place at NASA. In 1983, for example, Sally Ride became the first American woman in space. Mae had always imagined herself in space, but was hesitant to pursue that dream. But it was seeing the actress Nichelle Nichols play Lieutenant Uhura in the TV show Star Trek that finally inspired her to apply to the space program. In 1987, Mae became the first Black American in the astronaut training program, and a few years later, she flew into orbit as the first African American woman in space. Mae still wanted to have a direct impact on people, so she left NASA in 1993 and created her own company, the Jemison Group, which researches ways technology can help people in their daily lives. She also started the Dorothy Jemison Foundation for Excellence, which in 1994 launched The Earth We Share, a science camp for children. Wow, what an amazing woman. So let's try to recount all the amazing things she did. She studied every type of dance. She was a doctor who joined the Peace Corps and helped people in West Africa. She became an astronaut, and not just any astronaut, but the first African American woman to go to space. She founded her own company and started a science camp for children. Those are just 5 of her amazing accomplishments. She is an impressive human being.
Here's to Dr. Mae Jemison, Dr. Katherine Johnson, and all the other women who've contributed so much to space exploration. And thanks to our featured author, Vashti Harrison.